Dharma Circle Swati here. It's the Embodied Dharma Coach. Over the last week, I've been sharing the 4 pathways of Dharma with you: Artha, Kama, Moksha, and Dharma. And today I want to give you some ways to identify if you're having challenges with one of these pathways. How to know if you are struggling with these different pathways on your dharmic path, and what to do about it. And as I mentioned earlier this week, this is also an opportunity to work with me directly one-on-one. And I'm going to share more about what I do in Dharma mentorship and how you can work with me in a revolutionary way on your dharmic path. So let's start with the path of Dharma, the pathway of Dharma. And this is when you are unclear about your soul gifts and your life purpose. And I meet a lot of women who are unclear about their gifts and the purpose of their soul in this lifetime. So there's a lack of clarity, but it's ultimately stemming from a lack of self-trust. There's usually some misalignment or not being in right relationship with your inner authority. And so you're sourcing outside of the self for your knowledge, for your truth, for what feels real for you. And of course, Dharma, and the way that I teach Dharma and remind my clients to activate and align with their Dharma, it's all body centered. It all comes from within. And we don't source from outside of the self for this clarity and insight. So you may have fourth chakra issues, so that's heart-centered challenges. There tends to be a high critic, inner critic, and that creates self-doubt. You are often confused on your path, and of course this is going to impact your business, because if you don't trust yourself, how are you going to trust your steps, your offerings? Know that you are really in alignment with your gifts and your wisdom. So what happens is your offerings don't become nourishing or supportive, and you feel like there's a disconnect, or it's pointless, in other words. This is also where I see women stuck on a career trajectory rather than really honoring their soul gifts. And that is problematic for many reasons, because a career path has nothing to do with your dharmic path or the contentment and liberation of your soul. So we have to clear up that confusion. There is also a sense of not feeling good enough or valuable enough. And again, that comes from the inner critic. So if you want to know more about your relationship with Dharma and where there might be challenges or even resources, but particularly if you notice that being unclear about your path and your purpose is something that has been very strong for you in your life, you'll want to look at houses 1, 5, and 9 in your Jyotish chart. These are Dharma houses, and your Jyotish chart will give you a lot of insights. We always want to look at the ruling planet of that house, so whatever sign is in that house, and then the ruling planet. Notice where that planet lives in the chart. If there are challenging combinations or planetary wars of any kind, this is going to disrupt the strength of the Dharma houses. Another thing to look for is, the ruling planets of these signs in houses 1, 5, and 9. How are they expressing themselves? Are they able to express themselves? If they're challenged or unable to communicate, express, relate, connect, that will hinder the intelligence that they can support you with. So one of the things I noticed in the polls that I put out in my newsletter and also here in our Facebook group is that Artha, money problems, inconsistent or unstable relationship with money, that was one of the highest ranking challenges that I've seen on the dharmic path, according to these 4 pathways. So listen up if this one is for you. These are challenges with the pathway of artha, and this has to do with money and wealth. And as I mentioned early on in this series, yes, wealth is vital and essential for your dharmic path. It is one of the pathways of Dharma, and balancing material and spiritual, the wholeness of who we are, is vital for the dharmic path. And it's one of the reasons why I honor Ved and Vedic knowledge as truth, because we are physical beings in a human body, and this means our soul has manifested into a physical reality. And bypassing this reality is very harmful. You are here in a body to manifest and create. You are a powerful creator. We all are. And we do that through our body and being firmly rooted and grounded in our body. It's one of the reasons why I'm so keen on embodiment work. It's vital that we are in the body in order to create and manifest in this realm. So if you have challenges with money, or money feels unsafe, pay attention. This is likely the pathway that you are working with in this lifetime. That is the main reason your soul is here, to overcome these challenges. There's worry, there's fear, there's struggle. It doesn't feel safe or nourishing. There's often a bypassing that comes with this pathway, toxic positivity, not looking at the numbers. If you have a business, you're not looking at your goals or your numbers, or there's avoidance about even going there. And you often feel a lack of support or safety or stability in your life, because we're talking about vital life force energy. That's what money expresses. So this is a power issue. And I've seen this time and time again. When we're rejecting our power, when we're not in right relationship with our power, when we avoid our power, we'll have money issues, and it's going to show up in your Jyotish chart. So any challenges with houses 2, 6, or 10 in your Jyotish chart will indicate problems with artha, wealth. And this is even material possession. So it's wealth, it's money, and it's material world possessions, things that you acquire or receive on a material level in this lifetime. And I often see challenges with the 3rd chakra as a result of these challenges. And of course, this is the power center, and this is about your courage, being clear, focused, and aligned, and in right relationship with your power. So be mindful of money issues and power. There is a key connection here, and you'll want to source from your gut wisdom. Kama is about joy and pleasure. So if you're lacking joy, pleasure, love in your life, then you want to pay attention to this pathway particularly. Again, this is likely where your soul came here to transform challenges with Kama and transform into some new way of receiving, healing, awakening to deeper and deeper levels of nourishment, pleasure, joy, and love. And this is where you may feel a lack of joy or pleasure, abundance, nourishment. Maybe life feels malnourishing. You overwork, you push too hard in your business. There's an imbalance in your work-play dynamic. You may resist or refuse being in a receiving position. You feel burned out in your business and in your body. Relationship struggles, challenges with love. Relationships and love don't feel safe on some level. And This is a reminder too of second chakra issues. So challenges with pelvis, sexuality, sexual organs, and even big emotions that have been undigested for a very long time. And this is where the work is. So if you want to know more, you'll need to be looking at your Jyotish chart, houses 7, 3, and 11. Challenges with these houses are going to indicate problems with relationships, love, receiving, particularly pleasure and joy and love. Now, the final pathway for the dharmic path is moksha, and this is liberation and freedom from suffering ultimately. And I spoke a lot about that yesterday in our moksha step. One of the challenges about moksha is that we are in a human body. And so even though each one of us is here for liberation, we're also in a body, and it's important to stay in the body, especially for manifesting and creating, and really creating a nourishing life for ourselves. People who have challenges with moksha, these are people who tend to jump out of their bodies a lot and have trouble staying in the body, being embodied, even sourcing from their own body wisdom. So these people long for liberation and freedom from suffering, and there's usually been some deep wound or trauma with spirit, with loss, with death, trauma in the nervous system or the body specifically. We talked about that yesterday. You'll want to refer to K2 for the liberation themes in your chart. So there's a disembodiment and disconnection with your body wisdom. And this is where in your business, you may be overly relying on luck and not having tangible, clear goals and action steps. The spirit realms feel safer to you. Again, out of the body. Self-abandonment, self-betrayal, and wants to be rescued, particularly by God, spirit, a guru, or even your spiritual practices. So I often see with challenges around moksha that these are people who are overly purifying themselves. There's always some, detox protocol or having to clean up the shadow. And rather than honoring the darkness and the light, there's an overly hyper vigilant focus on the light. And there's a lot of spiritual bypassing that can come with moksha challenges. This is ultimately a first chakra issue. So being in the body, and guess what? We manifest from the first chakra. So if we reject first chakra and second chakra, you will not be able to bring your dreams and visions into reality. We need to be in the body to do that. And particularly, we need to be able to feel. Feeling is how we manifest. It's not through thinking or imagining. If you have moksha challenges, this will be seen from houses 4, 8, and 12 in your Jyotish chart. So any challenges in this area of the chart will indicate that there's a desire to leave the body or not be firmly rooted in the body. And these are people who have to really be diligent about honoring shadow and light, staying in their human body, and being in the physical realm. So if you haven't taken my poll yet, I would encourage you to do that. There's one here in the Facebook group. There's also one that's been sent out through my newsletter. Notice which pathway has been typically the most challenging for you. And sometimes we evolve through these things with different cycles and rhythms, different dasha cycles, different planetary cycles. We may have a more challenging artha cycle or kama cycle. But ultimately, every chart is going to have one specific pathway that is the most challenging. And this is where your soul is centered in this lifetime to overcome these challenges and transform this pathway into more clarity, connection, and ultimately liberation, because all four of these pathways lead to Dharma. They are the dharmic path. It's not one or the other. This is the wholeness of the dharmic path. And for those of you who want wholeness, are seeking wholeness, I want to personally invite you into my Dharma mentorship process, where this body-centered, trauma-informed process is also about supporting Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha in body and business, meaning that your whole body is included in your success and that your business goals are directed by your body, and reaching your material goals and your spiritual goals are integrated. Otherwise, we get lopsided on the path. I see a lot of women who have made really good money in their businesses, but they're burned out, they don't feel supported, they're malnourished, and they're not living their joy. Then there are other people that I meet who are extremely spiritual. They have very strong spiritual practices. They're rooted in their connection to spirit, and yet they have no clear path or direction. They don't know what their dharma is or why they are here. So all of this indicates that there is a missing piece somewhere. And your dharmic path is about the wholeness and tending to the wholeness. What I've learned over a decade of working with hundreds of women from all over the world is that as much as we want the success or the clarity or the joy, the pleasure, the wealth, the connection to spirit, if the body says no, then it's not possible. The body is the way. And listening to the body, tending to the body, honoring the wisdom of the body, and this includes your nervous system. We have to deepen our understanding of our own personal mythology. We have to understand how our trauma and our trauma triggers in the body are impacting our success. One of the things that I've seen time and time again working, with hundreds of women over the last decade is women will come, with these big goals and these desires, especially in the material world, and they struggle to achieve this. And it's slower than they wanted it to be. And a big part of that is due to the trauma not being honored in their bodies. And a lot of this is ancestral trauma as well. We talked about that in days 1 and 2 here in this series of the 4 Dharma pathways, that until and unless we are fully aligning with our ancestors and our ancestral body, we're going to be missing a huge part of the process. And we will be unable to fully activate our Dharma. That is a key ingredient for success, because Dharma is both spiritual and material. And I hope that that's the one thing that you have really clarified for yourself over the last week during this series. Dharma is both spiritual and material success. It's not one or the other. And until and unless we honor that wholeness of who we are, spirit and humanity, material world, and we're here in as this sacred soul, but in a human body, and we have these deep longings and these desires, and that's what you're here to honor. That's what you're here to transform and awaken into. And it's your dharmic work in this world that supports this. I said this yesterday, I want to say it again. The way to transform, heal, and grow on your dharmic path is through your dharmic offering. It is through your dharmic offering that you heal, transform, and grow. It is your dharmic offering where you meet dharma, artha, kama, or moksha, the wounding, the challenges, the places where you haven't fully healed, where the trauma is still impacting you, the grief work hasn't been done, the ancestral disconnections are happening. And so we heal by meeting those parts of ourselves, and we do that by sharing our gifts and wisdom in this world, because you will meet every part of yourself that needs tending or listening or gentleness or compassion, acceptance, and it comes through when you start sharing your gifts and wisdom in this world. Your dharmic business is such a powerful tool for your healing and growth and your soul awakening. And it's one of the reasons why I am so joyful about sharing my resources and support with women who are ready for this level of knowledge and wisdom and guidance, both for spiritual success and material success. And I have 5 spots open for 5 very special spiritual gifted women right now. This is private Dharma mentorship work. And of course, it's very selective. I only walk with a handful of people at any given time. That's to honor my own nervous system as well, but also to support you in awakening your dreams and desires. And you'll have my personal guidance and support for that. So what we do in this private Dharma mentorship process, it's 6 months long. We go through these 4 pathways, not only to awaken body, but also transform your business. Over the last week, I've been sharing my Dharma business checklist with you as well. And these are the 4 pathways that I use for business. I have successfully built a 6+ figure spiritual business over the last decade using 100% organic lead generation. And I want to show you how I've done that. And I want to help you make sure that your business is in alignment with your deep soul nourishment. And that is different than a career path. And if you're not feeling fully nourished, awakened, energized, and in love with the work that you do in this world or the clients that you're working with, there's a disconnection. And you're likely not fully in alignment with your Dharma. Because when you're aligned fully with your Dharma and your Dharmic offering, there's ease, there is joy, there is abundance, there's pleasure. And what I've noticed in my own business and on my own path and working with hundreds of clients over the years is that the challenges we're facing on the path or with our business are a wake-up call. It's the body and its spirit saying, hey, you're misaligned. We need to bring you back into balance with the purpose of your soul. Where is this disconnection? And often we're far away from the insights, the desire, and the knowing of our soul. And that's what I support you in. Realignment, refocusing, and restructuring so that you can be in deeper harmony with your soul and the purpose of your soul, and that you're offering and sharing your gifts and wisdom from that place, and you're maximizing your receiving channels and doing that in a way that is truly good for your body and in right relationship with what your body needs. So if you are ready for a revolutionary approach to coaching and healing and getting the guidance and support you need in business and body, for your spiritual and material path, I want to personally invite you into the private Dharma mentorship group that I am creating right now. And I'm sorry, it's private sessions with me. My group work won't be available till August, but if that's something that you are interested in, we can always talk about that. Spots will be opening up for the group work in the next few months. This particular invite is for private coaching sessions with me over the course of the next 6 months. And so, how do you know if Dharma mentorship is right for you? First of all, this is for women who have no plan B. So you're already committed, you're already 200%, you're already all in. There is no backup plan. There's no going out and getting a side job. You already know that you are going to be successful. You've already had some success and you're ready for more. You know that something needs to be restructured and shifted in order for deeper nourishment. So just a reminder, that is what it takes to be successful. And certainly on the dharmic path, we have complete devotion in the path and our own success. If you know in the next 6 months that this is when you need to make the change, you need to put new strategies in place, you need to pivot and restructure your current offerings. If you are ready for innovation and new ideas and a completely different way forward for your body and your business, then you're probably a good fit for Dharma mentorship. That's what we do in this process. And I support you in the restructuring, in your innovation, and making a major pivot, whatever that looks like. And another way you'll know if you're ready for Dharma mentorship is if you're ready to fully embody your leadership skills and your ability to express your dharmic gifts and wisdom in this world and be successful more in a more balanced way spiritually and materially. So you already know that there is an imbalance somewhere, and probably over the last week you've identified with these 4 pathways of Dharma that there's something missing for you, or you're challenged or struggling in this particular area of your business or your body or your life, and we need to make some adjustments here, clean out the pipes, and transform some blockage to your success. Those are also indications that you're ready for Dharma mentorship. And I'll put a link in this video so that you can book into my calendar. We'll have a harvesting session together, and I'll lead you through a series of questions to see if we're a good fit and if this is the right time for you to step into this level of support. A reminder that when you step into Dharma mentorship, you know you have a time frame of 6 months and you're ready to achieve the results in 6 months. Of course, you can keep working with me. Most of my clients do. But to know that this is the time frame we've set to achieve this goal, and it means that you're committed to getting results, taking action steps, and working in between our sessions to get results. And you'll be working with my Dharma business checklist, the 4 pathways, and all of the body metaphors that start with legs and feet, go up through the body into the voice and the vision. center as well. So we're working all levels of the body. Of course, this is trauma informed, body centered, and includes all kinds of ancestral support and guidance as well. If you're ready for more, I want to personally invite you to book in for a harvesting session with me. I have 5 spots available for these private mentorship packages, and I'm looking forward to meeting you and seeing what you are creating and how I can support you in this process. Thank you for joining me over the last week. It's been a pleasure to share these pathways of Dharma with you and to help you make connections, inner and outer. And I'll be coming back into our group in the coming weeks with even more resources and some exciting new offerings coming out as well. I'll see you in your harvesting session. Bye, everyone.